Morning everybody, how are we? It is Friday, it is 7:30 a.m. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity every single week for the next few weeks to take a look at the ITV races on Saturday, just to give an early heads up about any market moves or any horses I have any strong opinions on. Obviously the GG column will be on GG.CO.UK on a Friday night for Saturday selections. But I thought it'd be a nice opportunity just for inside about 8 to 10 minutes just to run through the card and see what they're offering this week. It's always a really good show on ITV and always the highest quality of races. So this week they're showing Chester, Doncaster and 2 from Leopardstown. We'll go through the British cards first, Chester and Doncaster in time order, and then we'll have a quick look at the 2 Group 1s over in Ireland. The first race of the day is the 150 at Doncaster. It's a 2-year-old race. It's a Champagne Stakes. It's a Group 2. I haven't really got a strong opinion on this race as of yet, but Richard Hannon does like to target this race, and he's got Chindit in here. He's around 3-1 best price at the moment, second favourite. He's won this race last year with Threat. His father, Richard Hannon Senior, won this race a few years back twice as well, and it looks a really competitive opener. Al-Bashir's at the top of the market, best price 2-1. It is a little bit short, but he was impressive on debut. I haven't run to around 90. But he could certainly improve. He quickened up really well on the final 3 furlongs that day. He didn't go a hell of a pace early on, so that might be a reason for his excellent closing sectionals there. But he does look an exciting type, and we're always looking for these exciting 2-year-olds, so they do tend to gravitate towards the head of the market. Chindit, nothing wrong with him, 2 from 2, a listed winner. He's achieved more than the favourite. I think he should be favourite really. He's top rated, he's 107. Look, I haven't got a strong opinion in this race at the minute. Devious Company, St. Lawrence, both battle-hardened 2-year-olds. Their prices are 9-1 and 10-1 respectively. I think that's a bit big, but the market is always looking for something with these 2-year-olds to improve past. So that's why they're at the head of the market. Al-Bashir's at the head of the market, but it looks a good race to kick us off. Check the GG column out on Friday night to see if there's anything I really do strongly fancy. This is one of the first times I am looking at the races with you as well on a Friday morning. We're going to do the rest of the work today. The 205 at Chester's the next in, and Ghaiyyath heads the market at 6-4. Real solid Ghaiyyath. It gives his running every time. He's progressing, steadily progressing. He looks a nice horse. And there's nothing really wrong with him behind who came last time at Newbury and Geoffrey Frere. I think he's a nice horse. Mirando's 2 from 2 at Chester. He's in next at 2-1. Been a little bit of support for Mirando. And then Universal Order's next in at around 4-1 best price. He's got to give £3 away, but it's a really tricky little race. Again, nothing really for me to get stuck into here, I don't think. Time Voyage is an 80-1 outsider shot. I don't think he's got a chance here on official rating. Sorry, John Quinn. But it's nice to see these horses fill in the field in these sort of listed races. To pick up some prize money, and quite rightly too, so fair play to John Quinn for doing that. We move on to the 225. Doncaster is the next race, and it's the Portland Handicap. It's the big field handicap, a cracking race every single year. Moment of Madness has gravitated towards the head of the market already. A lot of people spotted that he bounced back to form last time when third behind Only Spoofing at Goodwood. This horse finished second in this race last year off a mark of 95. He's off a mark of 91, and he just looks to be coming right at the right time. And he won this race massive 25-1 in 2018. So he has always run well at Doncaster. He's got a good record here, and he's the rightful favourite really. Dane O'Neill's on, no William Buick today, but he's heading the market. I think you can make cases for pretty much most horses in this field, as you can always with these big field handicap, but it's a really exciting race nonetheless. I'm going to give another chance to the 3-year-old Miras, I think. Learned a couple of lessons yesterday about following through my horses, and perhaps things didn't go to plan. So I'm going to give Miras another chance. Back over 5.5 furlongs. I think he's a really speedy customer. I think he's been vulnerable at the end of 6 furlongs. I think 5.5 furlongs should really suit him. Rated 102. He is the only 3-year-old in the field. This race was won by Oxted last year, who was a 3-year-old. He doesn't get a massive amount of weight, only a couple of pounds here. But I do think there's unfinished business at this sort of trip with Miras. Last time he really disappointed me at York, but that was on soft ground. His 2 worst performances of the season have come on soft ground this year. I think he just might be worth another chance. But don't be put off by a price in this race. We have our big price winners of this in the past. It's a really cracking race every single year, and you can make a case for literally any horse in this field. The next race we're going to move on to is back over to Chester, the 240. Again, another really tight race over at Chester. Really competitive action over Chester. May Danny is second in the market behind Prejudice. Prejudice around 9-4. I do like this horse. I do think Prejudice is well handicapped, but I have to admit I'm not convinced he is the strongest of stayers over this sort of trip. He hasn't won since he raced over a mile. This today is a mile and a quarter and half a furlong. I don't think he is the strongest stayer, and around 5-2 best price, I could probably give him a miss. May Danny's in at second favourite, 4-1. Absolutely blitzed the field at Goodwood, but I would just bear in mind there that he did have a tactical advantage off the front end. They slowed the gallop down coming round the bend, and then he quickened away off the front end of the pace there. So I would just bear that in mind. He's now off a mark of 101, he's £10 higher, so he might prove a little bit vulnerable, but he could well have more to offer yet. Law Ranger's an interesting one for me. Won over course and distance last time out, beat Straight of Humas. That form was given a massive boost midweek when Straight of Humas went out and won a very, very competitive handicap at this meeting. So Law Ranger was given a £2 rise for that. Looks a bit lenient now going forward. He is a nice horse. He's a consistent horse, and he likes it here at Chester. So Law Ranger around 6-1 is a bit, quite interesting. And Restorer is the other one that interests me. He's one of a £2 higher mark previously. He was off a mark of 95. He was a bit of a non-stayer last time when Upton trip. He drops back in trip today. Like I say, one of £2 higher, but that is back in 2018. The cheek pieces go on for the first time. He really likes it here at Chester. His form figures are 2-2-4-1. He just could have a little bit more to offer. He could be a bit of a surprise package in here. He's 9-1. And like I say, if the cheek pieces eke out a little bit more improvement, he could go very close. But again, another really tricky race over at Chester. In the 3 o'clock at Doncaster, I think this is a little bit more straightforward for me. Limato, 5-2. Yeah, I wish 7-2. 5-2 best price. Heads the Park Stakes in the 3 o'clock at Doncaster, over 7 furlongs. Mud Master in the second favourite. I think Mud Master's going to want the ground a little bit softer. Wichita and Malatham, both form lines tie in quite tightly. I think they're going to need to improve. Wichita's not been the most reliable or consistent this term, and I think they need to bring out a bit more. The same goes for Breathtaking Look, who was an emphatic winner at Deauville last time on heavy ground over 6. I think she needs to bring out a little bit more. This trip will definitely suit her, 7 furlongs, and there are cases to be made for Shine So Bright and Marie's Diamond. But Urban Icon, for me, why on earth they're dropping back in trip with Urban Icon? I thought he wanted to go up in trip, if anything. He has got some bits and pieces to form over 7 furlongs behind Space Blues from last season. But I really don't think he could be beating Limato here. I thought up to a mile, up to 10 furlongs, up to 10 furlongs for Urban Icon would be right up his street. So that's where I am with that race at the moment. Obviously, more work needs to be done on these. The 3:35 at Doncaster is the big one of the day. It's the feature race. It's the St Ledger. Pole Driver, best price, 3-1. I think Pole Driver will stay the trip. I don't think Pole Driver would have a problem with that. Whether or not he is going to win this, I'm not too sure. I think a real classy horse wins this sort of race. And that's no disrespect to Pole Driver. I think English King at a double figure price, I think he's worth another chance at the moment. Look, Frankie Dettori, I don't think it's given him the best ride the last twice. Tom Marquand jumps back on, and imagine the story. Imagine the story if Tom Marquand, who was ditched off him at the Derby, gets back on the St Ledger and wins. And look, he's a double figure price, and it's hard to get away from what he did at Lingfield in the Derby trial. He was really, really impressive there. He hasn't quite matched that the last twice, but I don't think Epsom was run to suit him. I absolutely don't think Goodwood was run to suit him, and I think he was given a bad ride there by Frankie Dettori. He wasn't at his best, and I just think he might be worth forgiving. There are some real nice horses in here though. Hookham, Santiago, Galileo Chrome's a very interesting runner. Joseph O'Brien's just brought one over to win yesterday in a fillies listed event in Pista, so must be respected. It's a really, really cracking race. I can't wait to see what happens there. The 4:05 at Doncaster is the last race on TV. Again, a 2-year-old race, nursery handicap. 7-2 the field. Babindi heads the market for William Haggis. Legend of Dubai, Lone Eagle, Dingle is in here. Richard Hannon again likes to target this race. He won this in 2018 with Leroy. He won this in 2015 with Danehill Kodiak. So he does like to send a good horse into this race. Dingle was his representative. He's around 8 to 1. Yeah, he's going to need to improve on what he's done. But I think they're all going to take a step forward here. So it's very difficult to have a strong opinion on this race. I'm going to do a little bit of work on this later on. It's over the straight mile at Doncaster in the 405. It is the 2-year-old nursery handicap. So we do need to tread carefully with these sort of races. But if you've got a strong opinion, I'd love to hear it on Twitter, so you can let me know. We're going to switch over to Leopardstown, and the 310 is the first of their races on the show. And Fancy Blue and Peaceful head the market here. Fancy Blue, best price 2 to 1. Peaceful 9 to 4. Not really much separates them, to be honest. I think they're the two right favourites, right ones at the top of the market. But the O'Briens do have a fair few entries in there, so it's not really one I like to get involved in. Tactics play a big part over in Ireland, with the stables running so many of their horses, the two sons, Donica, Joseph and Aidan. So it's not something I'm going to get involved in. I think Fancy Blue needs to take another step forward. Peaceful could quite well be the one to be on, and she could take another big step forward. But again, not a race for me. The 410 is going to be a cracker though. The Irish Champion Stakes. I wouldn't be taking Ghaiyyath on myself. I wouldn't be backing him either at 8 to 11. But he is definitely the one to beat. This is his trip. I couldn't have him for the Arc while we're on this race. But over this sort of trip, 1 mile 2 furlongs is a force to be reckoned with. Again, tactics are going to be deployed here from the O'Brien stable. I think he has 3 of the 5 entries. 3 of the 6 entries, sorry. Japan, Magical, already finished behind Ghaiyyath previously, and Armory. I think he's going to send something up to hassle him. I don't think Ghaiyyath's going to have things all his own way. Of course not. Sotsas is probably the most interesting runner here for the French Raiders. He was 3rd in the Prix d'Arc de Triomphe last year. He's a really, really nice type, but he's taken a couple of backward steps, I would say, this year. He hasn't really gone on and trained on. That would just be a slight concern. But the fact that he does come over from France is a signal of intent. So keep an eye on him. I think he could be a bit of a play. He's around 17 to 2. But Ghaiyyath the one to beat for me. At the moment, those are my thoughts on the ITV Racing cards. Check out the GG column on Friday night for final selections. Thanks very much for listening. We'll try something a little bit different with this video next week. So keep tabs on us, and thanks very much for watching.